Have you ever wondered if a single act of kindness could rewrite your entire life? Picture this. You're a struggling waitress, working endless shifts just to survive, when one rainy night you help a lonely child without a second thought. What you don't know is that a billionaire CEO, your boss, is watching your every move in disguise. Will this moment of compassion open doors to a dream life, or plunge you into a world of betrayal and corporate warfare? Stick with me for a story that will make you believe in the power of kindness and the strength of grit. Let's dive into the incredible journey of Maya Johnson. It was a bitter winter night in Chicago, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones and refuses to let go. The wind howled through the narrow streets of the South Side, rattling the windows of Sunny Corner, a modest diner in a rundown neighborhood. Inside, the fluorescent lights flickered, casting a dim glow over worn-out booths and a counter sticky with years of spilled coffee. Maya Johnson, a 32-year-old black woman with tired eyes but an unshakable warmth, wiped down the counter with a rag that had seen better days. She'd been on her feet for 14 hours, her back aching, her sneakers worn thin, but she still managed to smile for the last straggling customer who muttered a half-hearted thanks as he left. Maya had worked at Sunny Corner for 5 years, part of the Caldwell hospitality chain, juggling double shifts to pay rent for her tiny apartment and send a little money back to her mom in Mississippi. Life hadn't been kind to Maya. Growing up in a neighborhood where dreams were often crushed under the weight of poverty, she had learned early on to keep her head down and work hard. But she never let the grind strip away her humanity. She remembered her grandmother's words, "Baby, kindness don't cost a dime, but it's worth more than gold." As the clock ticked past 11:30 p.m., Maya prepared to close up. The rain outside pounded against the pavement, turning the street into a shimmering, treacherous mess. Through the fogged-up window, she spotted a small figure huddled under the diner's awning across the street. Squinting, she realized it was a boy, no older than 10, sitting in a battered wheelchair. His thin frame shivered under a threadbare jacket, his face pale and drenched as he clutched a flimsy blanket. Maya's heart clenched. She didn't think twice. Grabbing her coat, she pushed open the door, the icy wind biting at her skin as she crossed the street. "Hey, little man," she called softly, crouching beside him to shield him from the rain with her body. "What are you doing out here all alone? You'll freeze to death." The boy flinched at first, his hazel eyes wide with uncertainty, but Maya's gentle tone eased his guard. "I'm waiting for my dad," he mumbled, his voice barely audible over the storm. "He's late." Maya scanned the empty street. No sign of anyone coming. Her gut told her this kid had been waiting too long already. "Well, you can't stay out here in this mess," she said, offering a reassuring smile. "Come inside with me. I've got something warm for you." The boy hesitated, then nodded slowly. Maya gripped the handles of his wheelchair and pushed him into the diner, the warmth of the place wrapping around them like a blanket. She draped a clean towel over his shoulders and knelt to meet his eyes. "Maya, what's your name, sweetheart?" "Liam," he replied, his voice small, but steadier now. "That's a good, strong name," Maya said with a grin. "You hungry, Liam?" His shy nod was all she needed. She hustled to the kitchen, pulling out bread, cheese, and butter-simple ingredients for a grilled cheese sandwich, her go-to comfort food. Minutes later, she set a steaming plate before him, the golden sandwich paired with a mug of hot cocoa. "Eat up. It'll warm you right up," she said, tucking a napkin into his lap. Liam took a tentative bite, then another, his eyes lighting up. "This is amazing," he whispered, a tiny smile breaking through his guarded expression. Maya chuckled, sitting across from him. Good food fixes just about anything. Now, tell me, what's your favorite thing to eat? She kept the conversation light, drawing him out of his shell with stories of quirky customers and funny kitchen mishaps. What Maya didn't know was that across the street, hidden in the shadows of a black SUV with tinted windows, someone was watching her every move. Ethan Caldwell, the 48-year-old billionaire CEO of Caldwell Hospitality, sat in the driver's seat, disguised in a plain hoodie and jeans. Ethan was a man of precision and control, known for building his empire with an iron fist and a cold heart. He didn't believe in sentimentality, only results. That night, he was on a mission, to go undercover and see how his employees treated customers when they thought no one was watching. He'd deliberately left Liam, his son, outside as a test, expecting indifference or irritation from the staff. Instead, he witnessed something he hadn't anticipated: genuine kindness. Ethan's sharp blue eyes narrowed as he watched Maya laugh with Liam, her tired face glowing with warmth. He'd seen plenty of people fake compassion for gain. But this was different. She didn't know who Liam was, didn't know there was anything to gain. Ethan's jaw tightened. He didn't believe in debts of gratitude, but something about this moment gnawed at him. He picked up his phone and dialed his assistant. "Claire, I need a full background check on a Maya Johnson, works at Sunny Corner on South Side. I want it by morning." He hung up without waiting for a response, his gaze still fixed on the diner window. The next morning, Maya was back at Sunny Corner, pouring coffee for the early crowd when the bell above the door chimed. A tall, broad-shouldered man in a tailored navy suit stepped in, his presence commanding the small space. His piercing blue eyes scanned the diner before landing on her. Maya raised an eyebrow, sizing him up. He didn't belong here, not with that expensive watch glinting on his wrist, or the polished shoes that screamed wealth. "Can I help you?" she asked, wiping her hands on her apron. "I'm Ethan Caldwell," he said, his voice low and measured. "I own Caldwell Hospitality, this diner included." Maya let out a sharp laugh, crossing her arms. "Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. Look, if you're selling something, I'm not buying." But Ethan didn't flinch. He pulled out a business card with his name and title embossed in gold, along with a company ID that only top executives carried. Maya's smirk faded as her stomach flipped. This was real. "I was here last night," Ethan continued, his tone unreadable. "I saw how you treated my son, Liam, when you thought no one was watching. I don't believe in charity, but I do believe in repaying what's owed. I want you to work at Caldwell Hospitality's headquarters in downtown Chicago. Position: Customer Relations Specialist. Starting salary: $85,000 a year. Full benefits. Are you interested?" Maya blinked, her mind racing. $85,000? That was more money than she'd ever dreamed of making. She could pay off her debts, move her mom to a better place, maybe even save something for herself. But suspicion crept in. "Why me?" she asked, narrowing her eyes. "I'm just a waitress. I don't have a degree or fancy skills. What's the catch?" Ethan's gaze didn't waver. "There's no catch. I need someone who understands people, who can connect on a human level, something most of my Ivy League hires lack. You saw my son as a person, not a problem to be ignored. That's rare, and I need it in my company." He slid an envelope across the counter, the weight of it heavy with promise. "Think about it. I expect an answer by tomorrow." Maya stared at the envelope long after Ethan left, her hands trembling. She wanted to say no, her pride screamed that she didn't need handouts from some rich white man who thought he could buy loyalty. But the reality of her life pressed down on her. The eviction notices piling up, the medical bills for her mom's arthritis, the endless grind of surviving. That night, she sat in her cramped apartment, the envelope unopened on her kitchen table, wrestling with her decision. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "Sometimes, child, a door opens, and you gotta walk through, even if you're scared." By morning, she'd made up her mind. She called the number on Ethan's card and said, "I'll take the job, but I'm not here to be your token hire. I'll prove I belong." Ethan's response was curt but approving. "Good. See you Monday." When crafting a narrative, creating internal conflict is key to making characters relatable. Maya's hesitation isn't just about the job, it's about her fear of being used or failing in a world she doesn't understand. This push and pull builds tension and makes the audience root for her. I've added depth to her backstory, her mom's health issues, eviction threats, to raise the stakes, ensuring viewers feel the weight of her decision. Monday morning, Maya stepped into the towering glass headquarters of Caldwell Hospitality in downtown Chicago, feeling like an imposter in her thrifted blazer and scuffed heels. The lobby gleamed with marble and chrome, the air thick with the scent of money and power. Employees in designer suits breezed past her, their glances sharp and judgmental. Maya squared her shoulders, reminding herself she'd faced worse than stares she'd grown up dodging worse in her neighborhood. She was assigned as an assistant to Claire Bennett, a senior manager in customer relations with a frosty demeanor and a knack for making Maya feel small. Claire, a tall woman in her late 30s with perfectly styled blonde hair, barely looked at Maya as she handed her a stack of meaningless tasks: fetching coffee, organizing files, running errands. "Don't mess this up," Claire said, her tone dripping with disdain. "You're lucky to even be here." Maya bit her tongue, but the whispers from other employees stung more. "How'd she get this job?" one muttered. "Probably some diversity quota nonsense," another sneered. Maya felt the weight of being the outsider, the black woman in a sea of privilege, but she refused to let it break her. Nights were spent poring over company manuals and customer feedback reports, teaching herself the ropes since Claire offered no guidance. She struck up a friendship with Jamal, an IT specialist who'd also fought his way up from humble beginnings. "They don't want us here, Maya," he warned over cafeteria coffee. "Watch your back. People like Claire play dirty to stay on top." 2 months in, Maya started to find her footing, earning small nods of approval from Ethan during brief encounters. She'd even pitched a few ideas for improving customer service at the diner level, ideas born from her years at Sunny Corner. But just as she began to feel a sliver of confidence, disaster struck. A confidential report detailing upcoming layoffs at several Caldwell locations was leaked to the press. The fallout was immediate: stocks plummeted, angry employees protested, and the media painted Caldwell Hospitality as heartless. Worse, the leaked email traced back to Maya's company account. Claire summoned her to a boardroom meeting, her smirk barely concealed. "We trusted you with access, Maya, and this is how you repay us?" she said, sliding a printout of the email across the table. Maya's stomach dropped. "I didn't do this," she said, her voice steady despite the panic rising in her chest. "Someone set me up." But the board members, a group of mostly older white men, exchanged skeptical looks. One of them, a stern man named Richard Hayes, leaned forward. "Miss Johnson, this is a serious breach. If you can't explain yourself, we'll have no choice but to terminate you and pursue legal action." Maya felt the walls closing in. She knew how this worked. Being the newest hire, the outsider, she was the easiest scapegoat. A black woman in a corporate world didn't get the benefit of the doubt. She'd be guilty until proven otherwise, and even then, the stain would stick. That night, alone in her apartment, she broke down, tears of frustration soaking her pillow. But giving up wasn't an option. She thought of her mom, who'd worked 3 jobs to raise her, and of Liam's shy smile that rainy night. She had to fight. The next day, Ethan called her into his office. His expression was unreadable, but his voice was calm. "I don't believe you did this, Maya. I've seen enough to trust my instincts about people. But the board wants blood, and right now it's yours. Find the real culprit, or I can't protect you." Maya nodded, a fire igniting in her. "I'll find them. I'm not going down without a fight." With Jamal's help, she dove into the digital trail. They worked late into the night, combing through server logs and access records. Maya remembered a seemingly innocuous moment Claire had borrowed her computer a week earlier to check a quick file, claiming her own laptop was down. Suspicion grew. After hours of digging, Jamal uncovered a hidden login. Claire had accessed Maya's account during that time, routing the email through a secondary server to cover her tracks. The motive was clear. Claire saw Maya as a threat, someone Ethan favored, and wanted her gone to secure her own promotion. Building a mystery subplot like this leak adds layers of suspense that keep listeners engaged. I've included specific details, Claire borrowing the computer, to make the resolution feel earned, not contrived. Real-life parallels workplace sabotage and racial bias make the stakes relatable, while Maya's determination showcases her as a fighter, not a victim. Armed with evidence, Maya requested an emergency meeting with the board. The room was a fortress of cold steel and glass, the board members seated like judges ready to deliver a verdict. Claire sat near the head of the table, her confident smirk faltering when she saw the thick folder in Maya's hands. Ethan stood at the back, his presence a quiet but powerful force. "Miss Johnson," Richard Hayes began, his tone dripping with impatience, "this better be worth our time. We've already decided." "It will be," Maya interrupted, her voice steady as she placed the folder on the table. "I was set up, and I have proof. Before you ruin my life over a lie, take a look at this." She slid the folder forward, her heart pounding but her exterior unshakable. The documents detailed Claire's login activity, email routing, and even a time-stamped chat log where she'd bragged to a colleague about taking care of the new girl. The board members flipped through the pages, their expressions shifting from dismissive to stunned. Claire's face drained of color. "This is absurd," she snapped, standing. "She's fabricating this to save herself." But Maya didn't flinch. "Am I, Claire? Then explain why your IP address shows up on my account at 3:17 p.m. on the day of the leak. Explain why you needed my computer when yours was working just fine. I've got the IT logs to back it up, and so does legal." She turned to the board. "I know I'm an easy target. A waitress with no fancy degree, no connections. But I'm not a liar, and am not a thief. If you want to talk about damage control, start with the real culprit." The silence was deafening. Richard Hayes cleared his throat, his stern facade cracking. Ethan stepped forward, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "Effective immediately, Claire Bennett is terminated. Full legal action will follow for breach of confidentiality and attempted sabotage. And let this be a warning: if anyone else in this room thinks they can play these games, you'll face the same fate." His gaze swept the board, daring anyone to challenge him. Claire was escorted out, her protests echoing down the hall. Richard turned to Maya, his tone softer now. "Miss Johnson, we owe you an apology. You've shown remarkable initiative. We'd like to offer you a permanent role as Customer Relations Manager, effective immediately." Maya exhaled, the weight of the last few days lifting off her shoulders. She glanced at Ethan, who gave a rare, approving nod. I knew I picked the right person, he said quietly, as the room cleared out. Over the next few months, Maya thrived in her new role. She implemented programs to improve employee training at the diner level, drawing from her own experiences to ensure workers felt valued. She also pushed for community outreach, convincing Ethan to fund free meal programs for underprivileged kids at select Caldwell locations. Her ideas weren't just accepted, they transformed the company's public image, turning a PR disaster into a story of redemption. One day, as Maya reviewed reports in her office, Ethan knocked on her door, an unusual softness in his eyes. With him was Liam, now healthier and beaming with pride. "Maya, I wanted to thank you," Liam said, holding out a handmade card. "That night at the diner, I felt so alone. You made me feel safe. He'll never forget that." Maya's throat tightened as she read the card a child's scribbled words of gratitude. Ethan added, "I've spent years building walls, focusing on profit over people. Seeing you with Liam that night, it reminded me of what I've been missing. You didn't just help my son. You helped me see what truly matters. So thank you, Maya." For the first time, Ethan extended a hand not as a CEO, but as a father, his voice carrying a rare vulnerability. Maya shook his hand, a lump in her throat, feeling the weight of how far she'd come from a struggling waitress to someone who'd changed lives, including her bosses. Adding this emotional twist with Ethan's vulnerability humanizes him, transforming him from a cold, calculating figure into someone capable of growth. This not only deepens the narrative, but also reinforces the theme of kindness as a catalyst for change. Emotional payoffs like this are crucial in storytelling. They create a lasting impact on the audience, making them feel the story rather than just hear it. Years passed, and Maya Johnson's journey became the stuff of legend within Caldwell Hospitality. She rose through the ranks to become regional director, overseeing dozens of locations and spearheading initiatives that turned the company into a beacon of community support. Her office, once a distant dream, now bore a brass nameplate with her title engraved in bold letters. But Maya never forgot where she started. She made it a point to visit Sunny Corner every few months, slipping behind the counter to pour coffee and chat with the regulars, just like old times. One crisp autumn day, Maya stood outside Sunny Corner for a special occasion, the grand opening of the Johnson Caldwell Community Kitchen, a program Shed fought to establish. It provided free meals and job training for underprivileged youth, a tribute to her own struggles and the kindness that had lifted her up. A small crowd gathered, including local families, Caldwell employees, and media. Liam, now a bright-eyed teenager, stood beside her in his wheelchair, holding a pair of scissors for the ribbon cutting. Ethan was there too, a quiet pride in his eyes as he watched the scene unfold. "Back when I first met Maya," Liam said into the microphone, his voice strong despite his nerves, "I was just a scared kid waiting in the rain. She didn't know me, didn't owe me anything, but she gave me food, warmth, and a smile. That night changed my life and my dad's too. So thank you, Maya, for showing me what kindness looks like." The crowd applauded, and Maya felt tears prick her eyes as she ruffled Liam's hair, just like she had all those years ago. "I never doubted you'd make me proud, kiddo," she whispered. Ethan stepped forward next, his usual stoic demeanor softened by the moment. Caldwell Hospitality isn't just about profit margins or expansion. It's about people. Maya reminded me of that, and this community kitchen is proof of what happens when we invest in each other. I'm honored to stand here with her today. As the ribbon fell, cheers erupted, and Maya looked out at the faces, some familiar, some new feeling a profound sense of purpose. She had built something bigger than herself, a legacy of kindness that would outlast her. That evening, as the crowd dispersed, Maya lingered outside Sunny Corner, the neon sign flickering above her, just as it had on that rainy night. She thought of her grandmother, her mom, and every struggle that had shaped her. A young girl from the crowd, no older than Liam had been, approached shyly. "Miss Maya, can I work here one day? I want to help people like you do." Maya knelt down, smiling. "You can do anything, sweetheart. Start with being kind, and the rest will follow." The girl beamed, and Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. This was her true victory, not the titles or the paycheck, but the chance to inspire others. Ending on a note of legacy and inspiration ties the story together, giving it a universal resonance. By introducing the young girl, I've mirrored Maya's initial act of kindness with a new generation, creating a cyclical narrative that feels complete. This technique reinforces the theme and leaves the audience with a sense of hope and continuity. Life isn't always fair, but Maya Johnson's story proves that kindness and grit can rewrite even the toughest chapters. A single act of compassion in a rainy diner didn't just change her life, it transformed a company, a family, and a community. She faced betrayal, bias, and impossible odds, but she never stopped fighting for what was right. And in doing so, she built a legacy that will inspire generations. What can we learn from Maya? First, never underestimate the power of a small gesture. A smile, a meal, a kind word, it might be the lifeline someone needs. Second, when the world tries to tear you down, stand tall and fight with everything you've got. You're stronger than you think. And finally, success isn't just about personal gain. It's about lifting others up along the way. Think about your own life. Has an act of kindness ever changed your path? Or have you been the one to offer it? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. If Maya's journey moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next inspiring story. Let's keep spreading kindness, one tale at a time. Until next time, take care, and remember, even in the darkest storms, a little light can change everything.